which makes it so that everyone has ample time to understand the ramifications. Try to make this referendum as non-political as possible, right? By doing things like criminalizing fake news, by doing things like giving both sides the maximum election spending and making sure that they have fair election spending on both sides or an equal amount, right? We agree that the system isn't perfect, but we think that comparatively we have an added layer of check and balances. We have an added. What am I going to talk about in my speech? I'm going to talk about two things. First, when do we have referendums, and therefore, why is it justified for us to have a referendum in this instance? And second, I'm going to talk about how we prevent bad loan agreements. But first, when do we have referendums, right? So we have entered into foreign trade agreements to other individuals, where they cede our sovereignty to actors that are not just the state, right? And we believe ever comes from, right? Who consent to there being a government, who give the government a mandate to rule over them and take over their rights, right? Why does this apply in this instance? We think that in a foreign loan, you cede your sovereignty off to some other state, right? Because you cede your ability now to collect taxes and to send them to your state services, for example, to improving your state, because now you have to pay off your loan, to give some of your power to collect taxes to that state, right? Or you cede off your territory, right? In order to pay back the interest of your loan and the principal of that loan. Why is this harmful? We think that the state is one that is naturally oppressive because they take away our rights, because they take away so much from us. But the state is only justified when we consent to our rights being taken away, when we consent to our sovereignty being ceded, and that's why, principally, without any no change coming from our side, or even if we are worse off coming from our side, principally it is better off and principally it is justified if we have a referendum. But now on to the practical parts of the argument, right? Why is the bad loan agreement so evil? We think that this affects us on many different levels. First, we talk about prices of things like basic commodities increasingly becoming higher. Food and water, for example. It's very hard for poorer individuals, even middle-class individuals, to get things that they need for their daily lives. Things like state services, for example, who don't get enough funding because now our tax money is going to be paid off to some other foreign country, right? So things like hospitals and schools that people badly rely on. Things like small and medium enterprises, ladies and gentlemen, closing down because they don't have the ability to compete in this expensive market and to continue to supply themselves because no one is buying from them anymore. But lastly, no thank you, because of what I already said, because we cede off our sovereignty, when we sell off our territory, when we lose our ability to collect taxes for ourselves, no thank you. But that proves why it's so important for us to be able to prevent bad loan agreements. But why is that something that's inherently better off under our side? In this part of the argument, I'm going to do a direct comparison, right, of politicians, of individuals who are tasked to make these types of decisions versus the citizenry, right? They can still afford to supply their household, right? If state services become underfunded, that's still okay for them because their children don't go to public school, the elderly don't go to public hospitals, they can afford things like private schools, private hospitals.
For referendums against, like, for
essentially always bribe into unfair agreements, right? What does this look like? This looks like companies bribing politicians to vote for their interests for things like with unfair loan agreements, with high interest rates, where you have to pay on a shorter amount of time. Where have we seen this in the past? We've seen this in Latin America, for example, with ADMU, right, in Brazil, where politicians were paid off to enter into this unfair loan agreement. You see this right now in China, in Central Asia, for example, where China paid off Kyrgyzstan's politicians to be able to enter their unfair loan agreements, right? This is why that Kyrgyzstan opted to get China's loan agreement versus that of Japan, right, which had lower interest rates, which you were able to pay at a longer amount of time. But even if this was essentially the better deal, and even if this is a better deal presented to the government of Kyrgyzstan, they weren't able to enter it because their politicians were bribed by China, right? Versus citizens, right? Where it's very difficult for you to bribe an entire citizenry or to pay off all of the citizens of a state, right? Just something that's feasible coming from this side of the house, right? So they're the ones who are most aware of how horrible high interest rates can be, of how horrible unfair deals can be. For that reason,
like the previous speaker to give us their tag. Hello. Here.
Madam Chair, Mr. Chair, the classroom opening opposition is simple. One, we will not allow citizens to we will not allow this particular referendum, but two, we're going to prove how it's even more harmful, especially for Filipino people of different dynamics. So you have majority Filipino, you have the urban poor people, and even have subsequent poor Filipinos. But really most importantly, how it doesn't reflect not the interest of the general public, especially when your Filipinos are of different dynamics, are of different interests, are of different apologists to different kinds of people. The first, rebuttals. She told us that if you look at it, Mr. Chair, we have in the Philippines Duterte supporters who are apologists. If you do the referendum, Mr. Chair, you're gonna have how the votings will go, Mr. Chair. You're gonna have Duterte supporters or apologists who will compose to the majority of the statistics of the results of the referendum sit down, which means that whatever Duterte says or however Duterte reasons out this particular foreign ruling, Duterte supporters will follow. So the question therefore is that how is the result of the referendum ever rational when the majority are blinded by the powerful, right? But two, they told us, one, the state is oppressive. We're going to concede to that after this. But if the state is oppressive, what is the incentive that this state listens to whatever the result, however the votings will go? But two, if you look at it, you even have people who are divided on the ground. We don't think that this particular referendum will ever even build unity for the people. But if you look at it, Mr. Chair, which countries do foreign loans, right? These are your developing states. So if you look at the people in these developing states, you have citizens whose immediate concerns are sending their child to schools or buying food for their tables 3 times a day or things like that. Meaning, Mr. Chair, these fiscal decisions are always hinged on their needs right now or tomorrow. But if you look at the goals of the foreign loans, it eyes on the long-term goal, right? Which means that we're talking about the future of the Philippines 5 years from now. We're talking about the future of our Filipino children right now. So where do we put now the investments of our foreign loans? How are we now going to use it better for our Filipino people, right? So even if you look at it, Mr. Chair, okay.
Do you support having elections if they are also beholden to majoritarian rules?
Mr. Chair, for the decision that foreign loans are to be taken because of its big risks, right? Meaning it's going to require comprehensive and technical assessments, right? So if you look at the people that I just described to you, these are people whose risk assessment are different from that of the people whose assessments are based on long-term decisions. So, what is the counter proposal coming from opening opposition? We say that we're going to introduce new actors, and these are going to be technocrats. So, what's the policy? We're going to select technocrats who are of different specialties. We're going to put in economists, we're going to put in developmental studies experts, engineering, architects, for infrastructure developments, for example. We're going to have financial managers, so checks and balances, and how our money are better used. But most importantly, we're going to include people on the ground who are representatives of particular associations or NGOs who work with people on the ground. So, who are these technocrats? More importantly, Madam Chair, these are your progressives. Those whose principles are always with the masses, Mr. Chair. If you look at the welfare of the ones and how this particular foreign loans are going to be used, maybe for the development that would exclude them further from the lands. So who are going to protect them, Mr. Chair? These are your technocrats, right? So we're going to make them a council of diverse specialties, but of one interest goal. One, to come up with decision in three standards. One, in urgency. Do we need these foreign loans now? Two, in terms of efficiency. How are we going to make use of this particular loans? Or three, are there any alternatives? Or four, what are the safety nets or precautionary measures in cases when these foreign loans are not used? What is my argument? It goes into accountability that you are able to trace when you have technocrats instead of the Filipino people in general. Because one, you can't hold millions of voters accountable. So in terms of their traceability, are you going to punish people for voting not to do the foreign loans or for voting for going for the foreign loans, right? We say that foreign loans have high risks or repercussions. It may go to inflation, the fall of the stock market, for example, or embargo of the national assets. These are things with high risks, but whose goals are for long-term, right? But we're better able to identify and hold them accountable because one, they don't get regime right now that is oppressive. This referendum will be of no use. So what we can do is to employ people who is of small proximity or who will be close to the president when we decide about foreign loans or whatever partnerships we're going to have in the international offices. And with all of those reasons, we're very proud to propose. Thanks.
I think that the speaker for the extended case, DPM. Here.
What I will do in my speech is assume the best case of opposition, that people will make mistakes in the referendum and will still allow bad vote to take place. I will argue by having a referendum regardless still leads to better outcomes than having no referendum at all, allowing the state to decide that. But before that, a few things to clarify, right? This is a veto, which means that the technocrats that they want already determine the policy and determine the trade agreement, and then you just decide when I'm going to pass it and veto it in the end, right? Which means that all the benefits of technocrats being experts can be co-opted by our model, but we just want an added layer of security to make sure that in instances where these technocrats are corrupted, in instances where these technocrats are captured by large corporations and all of that, we have the mechanism of a veto to prevent them from abusing that power. That's why the argument about technocrats is value neutral in today's debate. Because if their policy or their deal is 3% or like 6% interest rate with other countries, it's because they know that these countries will immediately sign into the deals in the very first place because it's easy for them to control for politicians, it's easy for them to control the people in power and therefore allow them to make that change. If they know that this agreement will be put out in the public, where their international image will then be like shamed because people will talk about it, or people condemn China, for instance, because of their extremely high rates, then it's far more likely for them to sell police to them in the first place so that they don't lose their image because they know that their policy will be rejected and therefore they will look bad. So we would suggest it's not only to prevent deals from taking place, but also prevent current deals from we make an incentive for current deals to look good because we trade off the international image for a lot of these countries and these ruling bodies. Yes, we get that benefit under our accounts. But then, let's then move to assuming that they will still make a bad decision. Wait, so first, I want to prove why they won't make a bad decision. So aside from the fact that Ina said that a lot of people are already versed with loans, right? Since they know about how loans are made, they know what, they do take loans themselves, so they can easily imagine it and replicate that on a national scale. We suggest that the election system of referendums will allow them to become more informed and respond to the elitist notion of open opposition, which is say that they're uninformed and cannot make good decisions. What happens during elections or referendum? It becomes the focus of media, for instance. Politicians now have an interest to inform, and yes, you can see both sides will be biased, but that's exactly the point, right? Both sides being biased then allow people to make reasonable decisions and objective decisions. Because it's a hot button issue, academics, research agencies, think tanks are likely to enter into this and study it as well. That is why this issue becomes more informed, more information comes from this. Why is this important? This argument not only responds to opposition when they say they won't make good decisions, a second benefit, that if the deal takes place, at the very least, we already study the deal. We know about the deal. The public knows how to prepare for the deal, right? Because it's hard already to go through loan agreements, but it's easier when you're prepared. When you know that you have to have savings, because you can't rely on state welfare in the next 10 years, because the next state welfare will be taken away. When you know that you have to give your child education and save your money instead of spend and rely on the state. That's an added benefit you're able to get with a referendum and the information that's derived from it that you don't get on the desert house without a referendum. The last thing I want to do then is prove why referendums entered into rebellions because they felt like it was unjustified. Why were they revolting? It was not because they had to pay the loans, but if you look at their rhetoric, it was because they believed that the liberal elites, the capitalist pigs, were selling them off to the country without their ability to have a voice. That is why Hugo Chavez's rhetoric was, we will give back the voice to the people as was stolen from before and sold. We suggest that the reason for the loans were safe, but rather the fact that people didn't have a say. What do we do when off government bench? We can at least allow them to sign on to these deals, right? But even if there are bad effects, at least you have the narrative that you or yourself consented into these agreements, and therefore you can't necessarily blame the state for them. We suggest then that allows for restabilization are far more likely to contribute and help out, or the people themselves are far more likely to be follow austerity and prepare and help the state and cooperate with the state to go against loans. The example of this is Ireland. When they did vote on the referendum, what they did was a lot of people were willing to take in less social welfare, willing to have more savings and more austerity, because they themselves conceded into taking the loan to take them out of the 2008 financial crisis. They're the first crisis. This is what I want to respond to their point about no. So there. The last thing I want to do then is compare the potential case of closing opposition, which is we want faster economic deals, right? Because obviously check and balances come at the trade-off of faster economic loans. Why are we willing to make that trade-off? So if you look at loans, they're usually used for infrastructure projects, right? For long-term development of a country. That's why it's only infrastructure, which is so expensive, that current inventory cannot fight for. We're willing to trade off slower economic development for making sure that the harms of bad debts not take place, because bad debts harm not only long-term development, but also harm your ability to feed your citizens. In Greece, with the European debt crisis, people were not able to withdraw money worth more than $20 because they couldn't afford it anymore and the money couldn't be able to give out in the social welfare system. People died because of terrible debt policies and terrible debt programs that exist. We suggest this decision should not be given only to the elite and the powerful within society. We're willing to trade off some possible economic development for the greater protection of the people under our house. We get better deals, but at least we allow people to have a voice, and that's why the government will win this debate. Thank you.
Thank the previous speaker. Close the opening half of this debate. Yes. Here.
Maybe at first it sounds so noble to say that we need to give back the power to for them to be able to decide whether or not loans of things of national interest, like national loans, for example, should go through or not. We think that we should be able to draw the line and be able to balance out, for example, the power they give, as well as the technical aspect of really of how do we do this. Because if you try to look at it, the best case that they had was that people are able to veto this. The question that we have right now is that why can't the technocrats veto it as well? Because in our side of the house, if these are really bad loans, for example, if these are bad decisions that are made, for example, like the third is saying that we need to increase budget for national defense, then the technocrats will also do that on the council that Lisa counter-proposed to you. We think that these kinds of checks and balances also exist on our side of the house. What are we going to talk about in today's debate? I'm going to talk to you about how this kind of policy increases development for the most marginalized sectors of society. But second, we're also going to look at it in terms of how we strike a balance. But yes,
So you can like say that technocrats will work on your side of the house, because we can also have technocrats on our side of the house. But they obviously can't go to ratify the deal because under your side they're not making the deal in the first place.
yeah, the difference is that once the deal already exists and whether it should pass or not, these are the technocrats who are able to assess it based on long-term policies as well. We're putting the kind of the checkpoint when you the extension coming from the Prime Minister, saying that we all need to sit down and they become accountable to customers. We think that if we siphon out of Metro Manila, for example, towards other provinces because we have the interest of being able to keep that money. Or conversely, we don't want to be able to give out more skyways to Metro Manila if we agree on as the regions outside of Manila to not have that, even if it helps out on the alternate level. We think that this kind of divide is very dangerous and should into, because if you try to look at it, we say that even if the faster growth that they try to give us as a burden was not our goal at the end of the day, we think that it still is far more damaging if you have freezing development at that, because people on the ground are dying out of poverty. People on the ground need that particular food or that particular progress. The second, try to look at it, development also freezes in terms of the population of the poor, the ones who are the majority of these particular countries. It's true that Enoch talked about, for example, microfinance loans or something like that. PM talked about how the poor are familiar with loans. But that familiarity isn't, laced with nice and sugary things. It's a familiarity of your ref being taken away from you, being taken away from you by your Mumbai, because they see that they are unable to pay for these things. Which means that the kind of familiarity is also based on the risks that may be not that real if you look at it in the macroeconomics of it. But because these are the kinds of decision-making skills that people have, and not these kinds of circumstances, we think that you're also screwing that kind of decision. So, if you look at it, in these two instances, we're freezing development for people who need it the most on the ground. But the last thing that we want to reiterate is how do we, for example, look at it in terms of the votes can still be swayed because they're so against politicians, right? Still existed in their model. Because people are still going to be believing, for example, whatever your Panginoon Duterte tells you, right? We think that this is something that we ought to be able to control and make people accountable for that kind of irresponsible choice. Therefore, the last question we need to ask is, how do we strike a balance? We're able to strike a balance by still giving people the power by electing these technocrats, but at the same time, we're able to stay and make them accountable if they F up that kind of fiscal decision. If they did not see into that very high interest rates, for example, and hid it from the public. At least in our model, that striking of balance exists and it's so much clearer than you saying that people are now accountable and people are to be blamed because of the things that they voted for, even if they didn't have.
The economy comes crashing down. It is the people that have to deal with this. The only defense about this future harm relies on your ability to make a decision and have a say about it right now. This is different from opening governments who said, there's a fear that we're gonna have bad outcomes, or there's a fear that we're gonna have bad sovereignty and feed off our choices. This is an evaluation of people on the ground and what risks they're willing to take or what risks they're allowing their children to subsume. We believe that the reason why populism, and this is a re-diagnosis of opening government's case, was because people recognize that they are right, that was deprived from them by not through investments and loan deals, because the global community recognizes that these are urgent needs and humanitarian rights to have education, healthcare, and food. Versus investment deals that are in airports and roads, where the subjective benefit depends on your capital to use these types of roads. But as a normal individual, you are not able to use these roads because this is not central to your existence and your ability to continue living. That means people should be able to decide on what these useless things are to them. But second, note how the irreversibility of these loans means that individuals are less likely to opt out of it as nations. In the best case where we're able to opt out of it, it means the cost of your resources and key resources, like what's happening in countries like Turkmenistan, that the natural gas pipeline that they believe were to develop their country is being held hostage by China. The development that you get therefore does not trickle down to people, but goes to a foreign country such as China. We believe that loans being debt traps in the future means that individuals should have the ability to negotiate the gamble and the ability to pay, not the state. Why is this important as a second conclusion? We all need people to buy into these investment deals because it is them who executes these deals in the grassroots level. They never argue this. Stop hearing this. It is people who build your roads. It is people who build your infrastructure. It is people who use your roads and use your infrastructure. If people are unwilling to use it in the future, is one that is good and I will execute it well. So one, it is the right of these individuals, but two, people are more likely to opt in and to participate. Note how politicians are unlikely to be representative because in election season, people's decisions change. They are not able to see the future. In the future, I might care about an issue different, depending on my context. In the future, gay rights might not be as important to me, but because politicians are based on platforms that they were elected in the past, they are unlikely to transcend that in the future because of those platforms they already bound to. But because people change their perspective on issues, it is therefore also their right to decide on these things, and politicians don't get that. Last, why we are able to therefore get more consultative decision making. We believe that when you enter a bill, it is more likely to not get vetoed if you already exalted all alternatives and try to talk to more people. If the goal is to not get the bill vetoed, we are likely to try to create a better loan agreement or renegotiate with people. So what? They talked about why China will not be bad, China, but no, China doesn't care if it looks bad or good. This is about, will the government look bad or good to its people before entering these negotiations and while creating that bill. If it doesn't want it to be vetoed, they are likely to consult because it is the right of the people to make these demands as a means of self-defense against these long-term harms, even for future generations.
We thank the previous speaker. Let's welcome member of opposition. Here.
Never mind that opposing government states is no different from their shame. But let's ask the question which I think all of you judges don't know what a referendum ballot looks like. That referendum ballot only has two choices, a yes or a no. Once the deal is rejected, Mr. Speaker, that means that the whole of the nation doesn't want to go to the negotiating table for you to talk about it. Because once you reject the loan, in absolution, even if people are only concerned with one provision that puts their life to risk, like a high interest rate from China, it's more likely they're going to reject it in absolution, and the nation who wants to give the loan wouldn't want to go to the negotiation because negotiations have two costs. The first is logistical costs. You've already consulted a lot of people and included the people's interests in sectoral consultations already. Therefore, you add another cost of them trying to talk to types of other individuals. But secondly, you create also political costs at the end of the day because the climate has changed. You now have to adjust the loan based on the needs and demands of the people, which for you, as a banking institution and a state who has given that loan, has no incentive to give that loan anymore because you're already at the losing end. What does this mean? This means that the debate is about developing and underdeveloped nations. You are at the losing end because developed nations don't want to go to the negotiating table because more likely you're in a post-crisis, post-conflict, and a post-colonial situation where developed states have no incentive at all to give those loans because you don't have anything to give them back anyway. If they say that aid exists under the model, then they'll only give aid. But those loans, sure, it might be infrastructure, as Papa said, but that infrastructure is the most crucial to stimulate the economy, unable to give livelihoods to individuals. If they say that people's interests and needs change over time, what happens to you as a poor Sri Lankan who rejected that loan initially, but you don't have roads right now to be able to stimulate your watermelon business or to be able to build up the economy because you don't have infrastructure to invite people in? Who do you put accountability to? It's you as an individual, right? And the problem with that is that you're not able to put into any politician into account or any institution who made make that type of decision. But secondly, why is our model better? We think opening opposition is a bit unclear with how the discussions and consultations look like. We think that their model would more likely say, the government will say, already give you a decision to say yes or no. But under our model, opposition groups will continuously bargain and force themselves to be part of the discussion process through media discussions that are able to highlight what are the impacts of the loan that establishes the relationship of those loans and how it impacts people's lives. So Patrick's discussion that it makes the deal humanizing everything is not an exclusive value because news agencies, opposition groups and parties can do that under our side. What is the marginal benefit? The benefit is, once we reject the deal under their model, there's no other alternative for us to speak up and to be able to get the loan because it's more likely developers wouldn't want to go to the negotiating table again. At least under our model, even if the negotiation takes time, Mr. Speaker, we're able to have the balanced type of discussion. Sit down. Let's talk about the second thing, which is in response to opening government's case and even closing government's case about democracy. We think democracy is not an absolute value because many nations like China, like Saudi Arabia, were able to flourish decades or centuries, and for them to develop, they need to have constant trust and trust from those types of nations. Under the model, you have never-ending negotiations, discussions, which is detrimental because people would more likely be exhausted and would more likely digress from the real issue, which is economic development. What happened to the Brexit referendum? It became an issue about phobia towards Europe. It became a racist issue and had discussions and even sectoral consultations that are enough that we need to resolve to the referendum at the end of the day. It's a bit of a shake thing with their beats for I'm not sure. Factually, undemocratic, it's more likely to represent people's needs. We need to work in a context where leaders are more likely to be democratic and consultative and are more likely to talk to individuals. Secondly, we talk about how it's least likely for banks and states to give loans and invest. The states who want these loans are underdeveloped states who oftentimes the developed states have no incentive to help. We think regardless if the loan passes or not, they're least likely to reach out and give because they see your nation now is politically unstable because you always have to vote things based on the current mood. We think that under our model, it's least likely for them to get into loans under their side because these nations don't want to engage with you anymore. But secondly, they see those loans as always populist instead of things that they're able to reach out and give development to these types of nations. Why is this important? This is important because as a developing nation, you're only able to flourish if you're able to get the trust and you're able to get the legitimacy coming from these nations. All this is proud to post.
Concluder, please. Aldwin. Here.
Session on their side that representation of individuals on the ground is important, that it's heard, and that it's important that it is reflected in the decisions. They never said why that extent of representation must stop only in technocrats. Two, they say, well, you know what, we're Duterte apologists voting, and that's why we need technocrats. But they never explain who is really picking these technocrats in the first place, or having these individuals. If they're saying there are people who are apologists or the government is corrupt or whatnot, we think that the harm they want to prevent still exists on their side when Duterte can just pick his favorite economist, or like Trump, who selectively picks foreign policy advisors who are already in line with it, so they don't actually prevent that harm. But more than that, we can co-opt the benefit of technocrats because of an open and transparent deal. We have
more technocrats weighing in on our side at the end of the day. We're not talking about a collaborative decision making even before the deal even enters the negotiation stage. Because governments are aware that they are going to have to put it to a referendum to their own people as well. So they have that added incentive to start it on the ground. But last, they say, well, we can hold these people accountable because we know their names. But what is the mutually exclusive benefit of naming and shaming them? That's unfortunately not going to be able to help us solve our economic crisis. Okay, yeah, we know the name of the person we curse at night, but we don't think that's particularly important in this debate. Second thing, they said, well, people think in the short term, but foreign loans are very long term at the end of the day, so they're not the best decision makers. First, we think people are still capable of thinking about long-term decisions and weighing that against short-term. We don't think people are myopic or unfaceted such that they will only have short-term concerns. But two, even if the primary concern is short-term, we think that ultimately more important than long-term decisions because these harms are immediately felt. But too long, the opposition is able to prove any unique benefit, but all they do is exacerbate the harm with the group of technocrats. Let's then go to closing opposition because they say, well, if you're a shitty developing nation, no one's going to want to do a deal with you anyway. If that's the case, then why are we even having this debate? Nobody even wants to have a deal because our nation is like so underdeveloped at this point. We have to assume that there is something we can give, or that there's such a point that people are willing to enter into negotiations with us for this deal to even exist in the first place. Second thing, he tells us, well, if people vote no, then the nation becomes worse off. But we don't think that's something that we can automatically assume in this debate. Why would an individual vote no, even if it's just for one minor thing in the deal? We think it's because they assume and they feel that the status quo they live in now is better than the alternative that the deal would have been. We think that is an okay trade-off to make. They argue under assumption that this deal is absolutely necessary and will always be good, but that's not the case. We think it is fine that we prevent status quo if individuals feel that it's better. That means even if renegotiation never happens, if individuals are okay with what they're living now, that's perfectly fine. And understand the fact that the no vote won means that majority are okay with how status quo feels now. But they say, well, people won't offer a renegotiation because of logistical problems. But first, if that is true, that the cost is so high, we think that only incentivizes governments more to prepare for deals better. That's why we get better deals. But two, I don't think that's true. Like, how did Skype suddenly get so expensive that we can't talk to people across the globe? We think renegotiation in business happens all the time. We don't get countries like, well, I can't afford to fly there anymore. Sorry, no deal. Like, realistically, are we talking about the same countries? Look, we told that there's a greater balance of interest that happens on our side, such that if people are unsure about the deal, we have the government to step in, and if the government isn't sure what interest to prioritize, we have the people to step in. These conversations and these things only happen when you have a national referendum that you are unable to avoid. But more than that, we think that the change of interest of individuals is the most reflective representation that you can get. When Papa talked to you about how you voted in the election, is entirely different from how you can be now. Give the right to veto. Because understand that opposition was highly outcome-centric in this debate when they said, well, it's only about the better deal. When we have to understand that if it's like 51-49, different people have different conceptions of what a better deal is for them. That means, and this is where Papa came in, that we want to give individuals the right to defend themselves and to ultimately exercise their own liberty. Because rights are essentially things that are demandable of one state, especially when the costs here are irreversible and long-term harm. Debt that you're unfortunately going to have to pay, and probably your children are going to have to pay in the future. I think this is probably the most important thing in the debate because it exists regardless of outcomes. But even if the government thinks differently, rights are still something that are respected and granted upon the individual. That's why we have the right to bodily autonomy, for example, where the state can't just tell you what to do with your body. In the same way, the state can't just dictate how your life is going to be 5-10 years in the future when the stakes are so high. The individuals, in their own unique circumstances, have to be able to protect themselves. And the only protection we can give them in this situation is that veto and is the ability to stop these foreign deals from happening.
We thank the debater to close their case and close this debate up with. Here.
That was that. If you look at the nature of Albert's extension, it tackled the hidden nuance of the entire debate. It wasn't a question of whether or not we should have a referendum, but a question of why these loans are so important to the people that the state, that it becomes a question of should it be the state to decide where these loans go and how it works, or should it be the people? That's why Albert was particularly important in this debate. Because if you look at it, he understood and explained to you the idea of the state, the interest of developing nations in securing continually loans constantly because it helps them develop, right? But the only way we're able to do that is if we're able to create a stable market where people are assured that the loans that we're offering individuals are going to go through. The problem with the reliance on humans is this. A lot of the times we are undependable. Sometimes we feel like we want to get more loans and it's going to create a pool. But sometimes we don't want any loans at all and creates a shortage. So what's the problem with that, right? It means that under their side, it's far less likely that we're going to get the same influx of loans or same regulated by the people. Why is that so? Because even the banks acknowledge that these people are fickle and the decision making is fickle as well. It means it ultimately hurts the capacity of a nation to develop with speed. And this the reason why we need to be able to do that is because the needs of people fall out because they decided. But understand, the people who need the needs most are the people who need the loans most, are the people who live outside of that. And these people don't have the same power to go into cities and go. These people don't have the same numbers as the millions concentrated in Manila. So more likely the only interest that the people, the majority are fighting for under their side are populances, not the places, not the regions, nor the states that exist within the Philippines, right? The states and the regions with small populations are less likely to be assisted. And that's problematic. So what's the conclusion? Simply put, Albert simply said, the developing nation better fulfill society when we allow the governments to decide. Because the way that loans work now is it's given to the people, it's better distributed. So let's talk about the first issue then. Are the politicians in a better position? Later, I'll take it before six. Are the politicians in a better position to make decisions for the people? And this is where we're going to respond to the shared premise coming from government, right? Because they wanted to say, well, the right to self-defense, the right to autonomy is absolute, but not necessarily. What they have to prove is that in every instance of every paradigm, politicians will always be corrupt, and politicians will not serve the interests of the people. But despite that, we'll engage that later. But second, the politicians are the mandate of the people anyway. The people voted for these individuals to have the power to make decisions on their behalf. And in fact, it's only the politicians that have the capacity to react to changing needs anyway. So that's why even if we give them autonomy, it's completely fine and it's completely legitimate, right? This is what we're going to respond. We're going to respond to the greater fault of their case now. And this is what we're talking about, the worst case, right? Their worst case. Because if they want to say that they have technocrats, it's a non-mutually exclusive benefit. How does the technocracy work in status quo? You see that the technocracies have diverse panels, right? The discussions for the policy happens in media because normally these are discussions that happen on the campaign trail, right? There are popularity polls for me as a politician to gauge what the current stance is. The media inevitably discusses this. The academics actually discuss this, right? That's exactly the point. It's not an exclusive part. So given that people have the capacity for information, the debate is not about whether or not these people are ignorant. The debate is about whether these people will be selfish. So, if the majority of the subset live in Manila, what is the likely voice that they're going to want to do, right? More likely they're going to make decisions for themselves at the expense of the urban poor. If the train law says the disbursement will go to a majority of the poor, we will get loans to give to regions outside of Manila, they're going to vote against it. It's going to hurt those people developing outside, right? And this is problematic, right? Because we have to understand that these people, unlike politicians, don't have an incentive to cater to the people outside because they're not fighting for the acceptance of the people outside of their own social circles. So what's the impact? Only one set of individuals get developed later.
Now the second layer of analysis is this, right? And this is where we're going to engage our own process. What if people are going to be corrupt anyway? It's fine if they're corrupt some of the time. Because if you look at it, when they make bad decisions, these decisions are typically supported by the people. Duterte is making stupid decisions, but it's legitimate because in the majority of instances, everybody supports him anyway, so it's not a problem. And the reason why these corrupt incident politicians still exist in status quo is because they do a good job. Even if Gloria Macapagal Arroyo or like the EDSA mayor was able to steal, they're still doing good for their nation. So if people still think they still have the capacity to serve to the best of their ability, then it's fine for us to have corrupt politicians, right? So that resolves that issue. Now before I move on to the next half of issue resolution. Okay.
So your argument that they'll pay family to own the largest voter base is not mutually exclusive, because as politicians, we also want to find the largest voter base and therefore not diversify. But that assumes politicians will care about the will of the people. Our side is direct in representing the will of the people.
But the difference is politicians represent different regional blocks and have an incentive to serve those regional blocks because they know that they'll never win in Manila. That's the difference on our side. At least that incentive to serve people outside exists. Last, let's talk about the comparatives. Right? So ultimately, what is the trick? Corrupt politicians that are going to be effective versus damaging a subset of people, preventing them from getting aid at all. We'd rather have corrupt politicians that are at least even a little bit effective, right? In fact, it's better. Because understand that under our model, if we are aware that there's going to be a loan crash, or if we are aware that the president is making bad goals, what is likely? It's likely then that we're going to try to brace ourselves for any economic impact at all. It's likely that we're going to center all of the money into development so that we're able to create some sort of cushion, right? And what is the quote? So we're able to create some sort of cushion. So what is the conclusion here? Under our side, the harm of economic downturn is largely mitigable as compared to the harm of economic exclusion. Last issue, last discussion, right? Disability versus division. Right? Why is it more likely that the division is going to happen on the other side? If they say that people will be personally held accountable, it creates hostility within the nation. Right? It more likely means that the hostile environment makes a consensus on how the veto should go much harder. What it means is it's harder for us to pass inclusive policy as individuals because we're going to see each other as enemies. Because we're going to say, the reason why I don't have development is because people in Manila voted against my own interests. It makes it harder for us to get our needs. It makes it harder to get any consensus. At the very least, if a politician messes up, if a politician fucks up, we can always change the government.